And welcome to Plant-Based Living Across the Pond with Gareth and Jeanne. Hi, I'm Jeanne Schumacher, and let me introduce Gareth Davies. He was a former soccer star, and I don't know, were you a soccer star?
I wouldn't say a star, but hey, I played football. Yeah, I played soccer. Oh,
So
sorry,
you
yeah,
played soccer.
not. I didn't play football because,
Right?
like, that's you'd get completely the wrong idea then. But it was soccer. Yeah.
Soccer. You played soccer. So I get it. Don't even start. I don't even start about the Americans or whatever. But anyway, you got injured, and after your injury, your weight and blood pressure went up, and we know what happens there. But you came across the China study and Dr. McDougall and all that good stuff, and you got off of your blood pressure medications, and you lost weight, and of course you look fabulous. And you have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Gareth Davies. So you can connect with him there.
Well, it's Gareth R. Davies, actually.
My
But
bad.
there you go.
See,
Yeah,
I
no
wanted
problem.
you to. I wanted you to say that. I was testing you to see if you were paying attention.
Well, the reason is, Jean, Gareth Davies might seem like an unusual name to you, but in Wales, it's a really common name. So all the options were taken up, but I got a middle name beginning with R, so I just popped that in there, and everything's cool.
All right.
So let me introduce Jean for you as well, folks who are watching. Founder of the Weight Loss Advantage, and that program's to help people lose weight without dieting and really to change their health, their destiny. And she has something coming up real soon called the Pregnancy Advantage. You want to tell us about that, Jean?
It's I can't wait. With Dr. Deborah Shapiro, we're going to launch a program to help women to get their bodies pregnant ready. Okay, no comments from you. Okay. I can already hear the comments coming.
Get their bodies pregnant ready. Okay.
So,
yeah.
But you can find, I'm not even touching that. So you can find more about that on my website, simplyplantbased.net, under programs. So
fantastic. Look forward to that. Yep.
So in our
just quickly then, Jean, sorry to interrupt you there, but when is that going to be available to people? When's it going to be out?
I hope we're going to be launching in February of 2020.
Fantastic.
So I'm hoping soon, but we're working, she and I are working, it's an amazing program. Oh my God, I can't say, she's incredible. I found somebody who's got more OCD than I do. So
what?
I didn't think that was possible, but she is on it. She's all over this, and you should see the stuff that's coming out from her. It's just absolutely incredible. You will learn a lot, and I've been going through learning so much about the human body I forgot about. So
okay. Look forward to it.
All good. So you had a homework assignment from the first show to look at the chemists, in Norway, and to see if you had adult diapers there. So what did you find out?
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, I couldn't believe there was such a thing as adult diapers. I was oblivious to it. I had no idea that existed. But you assured me it did in the United States. So we went along, myself and Anna Bennett, my wife, we went to biggest chemist here in Tromsø, and we pulled one of the staff and said, hey, we can't seem to see any adult. Well, actually, I didn't say it because I thought if I'm going to ask, they're going to think it's for me. And I don't want that. So I said, well, will you ask and like make out you're looking after someone or something? And so Anna Bennett asked, and they said, no, they're not on view. There's no, because we'd looked around the store and there was nothing there. They're not on view. They're actually free for people in Norway when they get them on prescription through their doctor. So you have to go to the doctor, explain the situation. The doctor says you need these, writes your prescription. They send them to you in the post, I think. I'm not really sure. Yeah. So, either, there's not enough people asking to have them, out there as a product, or Norwegians are just burying their heads in the sand and saying this is not a problem. Just the doctors are keeping it to themselves, and I really don't know. So interesting, yeah.
Interesting. Well, here in my town, it's a whole aisle. When you go into the local pharmacy, it's a whole. It started out to be a little section, and now it's a whole aisle.
I mean, I'm laughing, Jean, but it is really very, very sad.
It is sad.
And, there is something you can do about it before you get there, as we both know. And it takes changing a few basic habits mainly around diet.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what you got going on then?
Well, there's a lot of events going around. I don't know about what's going on in Europe, but around here we have coming up, it's the largest health and environmental conference in the world. The total focus is on vegan and whole food lifestyle.
Wow.
And I can't even begin to tell you who's presenting. And it's free.
What?
The conference, I know. It's just, what? It's 10 days and it's free, okay, from early in the morning till late at night. And breakfast, lunch, dinner is provided, and snacks. I mean, it's incredible. So it's on Long Island. Yeah.
Who's funding that?
I think part of it is funded by Hippocrates, the Health Institute in Florida.
Okay.
So I know they're part of this, but I think also there's some other, private sponsors and donors that put this on because they want to make this information.
Yep.
Yeah. And they record it, and then they provide the recordings free. So it's just incredible. So, and coming up also, I think I've told you that I'm in Dr. Neil Barnard's book. I'm one of his case studies, and his new book is called Your Body in Balance. And I've been actually doing a series with him on videos about the book. I broke it into a 7-part series, and we've just finished the first 3. The first 2 videos are about women's health. The third one is about men's health. So they're so powerful. And the next one's going to be on diabetes. So absolutely incredible. But he starts his book and lecture tour on February 4th in New York City. So I will be at that conference, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
So you can find, and I'll post the link. You can see where he's going to be presenting. So if you want to get a signed copy or go hear his lectures, he's amazing. He's just incredible.
Yeah.
And then coming up in June is the National Health Association Conference, and I can't say enough about that. They have been promoting a whole food plant-based diet since 1948. Do you hear what I just said?
Staggering, 1948. Do you know, Jeanne, that is even older than me.
Clearly. And me. But the guy who's the president, his name is Mark Huberman, he has been plant-based he's 63 years. 63 years. He started when he was 5, and he looks absolutely amazing.
Fantastic,
just incredible. How about you? What's going on in Europe?
Do you know, I got a lot going on personally, but we don't have at least I'm not aware of the conferences that the type that you have in the States on plant-based food. It's it's a little bit more diverse here. So I guess there's more, I don't know, it just seems to be more organized in the United States on that side of things at the moment. I'm sure there are conferences, there's probably stuff I don't know about. Bear in mind as well, I am in the Arctic Circle up in northern Norway, so I am tucked out of the way a little bit. So even if something was going on in the UK, it's a minimum. It's a minimum 2 flights for me to get anywhere.
All right.
Yeah. So a couple of conferences I'm going down to Oslo and near Stockholm in Sweden over the next month, but they're not 100% health based. So there you go.
And you've got your show, The Game Changers.
I've got the Game Changers show. That's on Thursdays. Because I'll be traveling this week. It'll be the first time I'm traveling and need to record. So I'm learning so much. You're really into the technical stuff. I know you're very, very good at that with the website and everything. It's all brand new to me, which is a lot of fun. Actually, I'll tell you a story there from just not the one I've just recorded. Did this Thursday, but last week I was speaking to a guy called Alan Wilkins, who's an ex-professional cricketer. And now 20 years ago, moved into broadcasting. And he's got this amazing broadcasting career in India with the cricket, and Pakistan and South Africa, and back to Wimbledon in London, and many, many, many things. Lots of rugby games as well. He's commented on for the BBC. So he's a top class broadcaster. And he was asking me, well, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm thinking, this is crazy. I'm telling him what to do. So anyway, we did a sound test. We started it, and it was hopeless, the sound. I said, no, we have to go to a song and we'll come back to this. So I said, Alan, have you got anyone in the house listening to the show? And he said, yes, my wife is listening to it upstairs. I said, no, can you ask her to cut it off? Because it was, it was
cutting into
feedback or,
Back,
yeah.
feedback loop, yeah.
But it was crazy that I was talking to someone who was so experienced in broadcasting. I thought it was funny anyway. So let's get on to health, huh?
Oh my gosh. Let's talk
Yeah.
about disease of the week. So, one of the things that for me is up close and personal is the thyroid. And
Okay.
your thyroid is it's a little butterfly shaped gland that's right here, and it produces hormones that can regulate several body functions. And the thyroid is essential for metabolism as well as overall growth, development, and you can have sometimes, and we're starting to see a lot of people with either overactive thyroid, which is hyperthyroidism, or an underactive thyroid, which is hypothyroidism. And
Okay.
both of these conditions can have a huge impact. And we're starting to see a lot of this in the United States. I don't know about over there, but across the pond.
I don't know. Okay.
So, but
And
we're
why
starting to
why
see a
is
lot.
that? Why is that, do you think, Jean? Why is there so much?
Well, a couple of reasons, and Dr. Neil Barnard goes into this about your body and balance because it's the hormones. First of all, we're being exposed to so many hormones in, cow's milk. I mean, let's think about this. This is a cow that is pregnant, and so she's going to have a lot of female hormones in her milk.
Mm-hmm.
And as the pregnancy goes along, she's going to have more hormones as the pregnancy accelerates.
Yeah.
So people are drinking these cow hormones, which are having an impact on them. But I also think, too, Dr. Barnard and I were talking about this. I live in the state of New York, and the state of New York fluoridates the water. And so if you go back to your basic high school chemistry, and you look at the periodic table, remember that once upon a time?
Oh no, wait. I mean, yeah, I've actually taught a memory skill on how to remember the first 10 elements of the periodic table, but I have no idea what it means, and I never learned any of it in school. So I'm happy to be educated. Yeah.
Well, if you look at the periodic table, group 7A is the halogens. In a single displacement chemical reaction, you can have fluorine because it has more activation energy. It's going to displace anything that's under it. So right under fluorine, you've got fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and then iodine.
Okay.
And so if you have fluorine, which our body does not need in any way, shape, or form, if you have fluorine in your body, it's going to displace iodine in any chemical reactions in your body. So we're starting to see issues with iodine balances, which can cause, again, your thyroid needs iodine. So one of the things you can do is to make sure that you have enough iodine in your body. I use Kombu, which is a seaweed. And so I just take a strip of it, and it's very high in iodine, so you don't need much. So just take a little strip of it, and I'll throw it into, I have a dressing for, I call it Simply Italiano. It's amazing. And it doesn't change the flavor, because I don't like fishy flavors at all. I've never enjoyed the taste of fish or fishy flavors. So it doesn't add what I think is a fishy or seaweedy flavor. I can't even tell it's there. But because I am so salt sensitive, so I can't have salt at all in my food. So anyway, so I just wanted to talk about a couple these could definitely have a serious impact. And you could just go to your doctor. They can do a blood test and measure your TSH. Okay, that's thyroid-stimulating hormone, and see where you are. And so when I first started changing to whole food plant-based, I started dumping a lot of toxins. And that's one of the things your body does, is it gets rid of a lot of the toxins, because you have two basic types of chemicals, fat-soluble and water-soluble. So if it's water-soluble, you're going to pee it out. If it's fat-soluble, yay, it's staying in your cells. And a lot of these chemicals that we're being introduced to throughout, since, better living through modern chemistry since the 1950s, all these chemicals, are fat soluble, so they just stay in your fat. So they're there, and they're sitting there, so that, that license plate, that 57 Chevy license plate, it's coming out, baby.
Sorry, you switched from a chemical lesson for me, a biology lesson, to a Chevy 57 license plate.
The toxins, all the toxins, like you might have eaten it. Forget it. Never mind.
Okay.
It's
another across the pond thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's an American thing. Anyway, don't worry about it.
So how about these?
You're going to be releasing these toxins, okay? And when you do, you're going to know it because you're going to feel like you've got a headache or you feel like you've got the flu coming on, or you just don't feel good because all these toxins are coming into your bloodstream and you need to get rid of them. So one of the things that happened to me is I started detoxing, and a lot of these chemicals were having an impact on my thyroid. So my thyroid started going wonky. And then my doctor's like, no, time to put you on, the
Get the
artificial,
drugs.
time to put you on the synthetic thyroid. And she whips out a prescription pad and she circles it. And on the bottom, there was 4 refills. And I'm like, how long am I supposed to be on this medication? And she said, the rest of your life?
No, not happening.
No. And she's like, in my 25 plus years, I've never seen anybody who's reversed their thyroid and healed it until now. So no, I'm not on. Yeah. So I healed my thyroid, but there's a couple of signs that you can look for. So I've got 10 of them to share with you. First of all, the first one is changes in body weight. So as you start to add a lot more fat to your body, that also can have an impact. Extremes in mood. 1 minute you're yay, and the next minute you're like down in the dirt, crying.
Okay.
So extreme mood changes, menstrual changes as well. So if you were normal and all of a sudden you're going wonky, that could be an issue. Goiter. A goiter is like this swelling in your neck. So if you're starting to see that is something like Mayday. And another one would be altered mental capacity. Like you just can't remember things. You're just not running, the way you should be.
Sorry, what was that you said?
Like
no.
Difference in. I fell for it too, didn't I? I fell hook, line, and sinker.
Okay, I got it.
All right. Next one is low sex drive.
Wow.
So that could be another one.
Yeah.
Hair loss. And it's surprising how many women that I come across that have shared with me that they have issues with losing hair. So
do you know on my Facebook site, which is a separate group I have, the blood pressure support group, there's several people on there, women have complained about hair loss with taking pills, blood pressure pills as well.
So the best thing to do is to start looking at, to test your thyroid.
Okay.
Test it and see how that is, and see if that's okay. Because that's the first thing to look for in hair loss is your hormones. What's going on there?
Yeah.
So another one is unpredictable bowel functions. Like all of a sudden, either you're too hard or, oh my God, I got to go. I got to run. Yeah. And of course, high blood pressure, that's another one that could be. And then also changing sleep patterns. Like you're trying to sleep, you're exhausted, but you just can't sleep. And so you become tired, and then that just exacerbates and continues the whole problem.
So can I ask you a question there, Jeanne? The thyroid and the hormones, are they responsible for moobs?
Moobs?
Yeah. Don't you know what moobs are?
No!
Yeah. Yes, I've got you with a European one. Yeah. Man boobs. Moobs.
No, I've not heard that. We don't use that across the pond.
Okay.
Moobs.
Yeah. When guys get a little bit heavy where they shouldn't, and
right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things about moobs. So a couple of things. One is about the hormones. Is they're consuming dairy products that have hormones in them. And so they have estrogen. The milk has estrogen. Estrogen is a female hormone. It's going to create things to grow that shouldn't be there on men.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things.
Okay.
Okay.
You like that, don't you?
That's a good one. I like that one actually. So another one would be something like parabens. Parabens, your body thinks, but it's not. Your body thinks it's estrogen, and that's how it treats it. So that's an issue. And it's bioaccumulative. And parabens are used in a lot of products, like shampoo, deodorant, toothpaste, hand cream. Oh my God, I got to tell you this one. I broke my wrist. I'm no longer allowed on ladders. We're painting our house, staining it outside on the Cape. And I had my hand tucked around the ladder, and the ladder slid out, and my arm was still, my wrist was trapped. And basically my full weight came down on my wrist. And my wrist looked like this. And I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to look like that. I'm not Gumby. You can't like push it back together.
Yeah.
And so it needed surgery. So after surgery, I went for therapy. So after I went in for therapy, and the woman brings out this big tub and sets it down. I'm like, what's that? And she's like, oh, it's just cream that I'm going to use. I'm going to massage your wrist because we got to stretch it out. You had surgery. I said, just 1 second. I picked it up and I turned around and I looked. It had not had one. It had 3 parabens, because parabens is a chemical family. Like there's methylparaben, butylparaben, propylparaben. It doesn't matter. They're all bad. Okay. It had 3 parabens in it and 2 other major nasty endocrine disruptors. And I said, I opened up my Mary Poppins bag and I pulled out cream and I said, we'll use this. And she said, what? Why? And, this is the first time.
I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
Sorry. My phone just started talking to me. Sorry.
Siri, be quiet.
I know, right? She did it on her own.
I know. It happens
it.
here too. I understand.
Anyway. So she finally, I didn't say anything to her. And she finally just said, why? And I said, well, I did it more for you than for me, because let me tell you why. Because those are some serious endocrine disruptors. And I said, did you want to have children? Because it had not 1, but 3 parabens in it and 2 other major endocrine disruptors. And I said, no, I'm good, thanks. But, I said to her, you do this probably 10 times a day. And every time you're doing it, it's going into your system and it is bioaccumulative. So that will cause the moobs, as you say, over across the pond.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
So how about another one then is, I would imagine, has some effect, again, more in the United States than here because of laws. And I believe there's, the chicken's not great because of what's been injected into chickens,
Yeah. No.
Would that have the same result?
It's the hormones.
Okay.
So for men, if you're consuming lactating fluid of another species, that's estrogen. And so that's going to give you man boobs.
No, but I'm thinking of the hormones given to chickens to make them grow.
Oh, fair point.
Make them be bigger.
Fair point. I don't know. That's a good question. Okay. But I think if we can just eliminate animal products from our diet, I think
makes everything so much easier,
doesn't it? It does. Yeah. It does. And I think both of us have realized how much better we feel. Oh my God.
Oh, I can't tell you. But I had real bad skin problems with my feet as a footballer. That's not great. They didn't last until I was professional. But as a kid, going out and playing in the lane every single day, I would come back in with big, deep cuts in my feet where the skin had just got dry and split. And it was so painful. Of course, I didn't feel it when I was actually doing it because the adrenaline was going and I was a kid and I just wanted to get out and play. But if I ever wore white socks, they would be covered in blood when I came back. And then I had to eventually, I tried all sorts of stuff, ended up dipping them in potassium permanganate, this purple stuff, and I had to bathe my feet in purple stuff every night. It was awful. But I realized later on in life, it was the dairy which was causing that for me, and the cheese and the milk in the main. Yeah.
Yeah.
So never had a problem since. I'm very grateful for that.
Well, you had high blood pressure.
Well, I was also overweight. I mean, I couldn't see the high blood pressure. What I could see immediately was I was putting on weight. And you think, well, that's because I've gone from training 4 times a week and playing once a week to not being able to run. Yes, absolutely true. But the thing is, I was eating and drinking the same as I was doing, after as before the accident. And that was what I was eating and drinking was anything and everything. And of course, you're training so much, it doesn't look like there's a problem on the outside. But there is a problem on the outside, as it showed in the Game Changers with those guys taking a couple of different tests they ran on the sports guys. It's going on the inside. And the big shout out to everyone is the canary in the coal mine. It's the high blood pressure. That is a signal that something is going wrong inside our major system in our body, which carries all the nutrients around the body, which is responsible for so much. It's the lifeblood, lifeblood of our body, and we're getting a signal saying there is something wrong. Your blood pressure is wrong, and for people to run off and just take a pill to lower the numbers does absolutely nothing for the health of the body to address the problem. People should be asking themselves, hang on, why is my blood pressure too high? What is the cause, and what can I do about that cause? And I found that in dealing with hundreds of people with this problem, is that naturally they're very, very quick to blame their genes, to look for the latest superfood to cure them, or switch around their medication to see which is going to help them the best, because people just do not understand this concept that it's the canary in the coal mine, that it's a warning for them. They just think if they take a pill or they take, I've in the group I run, there's a lot of comments lately on beetroot and how that helps to lower blood pressure. Well, so what? And breathing exercise, it lowers blood pressure, but how long are you going to breathe like that? You're going to breathe like that every single day for 24 hours? It's not going to happen.
And I'm not saying those.
Yeah, I'm not saying those things are bad.
They're transition things. They're little pieces that are going to help to.
They're tiny, and you can't do anything about your genes. So you can complain about them all your life and say, this is why I've got high blood pressure, because my father had blood pressure, and his father and his father and his father, and my mother and her family. Or you can take responsibility for it and say, okay, maybe I have a propensity for high blood pressure, so I have to be even more careful in what I eat and drink to look after it. Or you could think, hang on, maybe I got the same high blood pressure problem as my parents because I eat the same stuff for the last 40 years,
Genes go in families, but so does food.
Yeah, exactly right. So lifestyle we can do something about, and that is 80% at least of the problem. Do something about your lifestyle. Don't just rely on a pill. That's my message, really.
Oh my God. It's true. Absolutely true.
And
so
sorry.
So it's true. I mean, and with high blood pressure, it's so easy to fix. It really is.
Yes.
Just with following a whole food plant-based diet.
Whole food, plant-based diet, no added oil in there, which is a big thing. Yes, masses of salt are not going to help you, but putting a bit of salt on top of your food, a bit of sugar on top of your food, that's not going to give you the problem. It's the salt and the sugar hidden inside packaged foods, or used in cooking, that's going to be the problem,
Well, I compare it to like peeling back layers of an onion. Mm-hmm. So as you're peeling back the layers of an onion, there's another layer, there's another layer, there's another layer. And I think that's what happens as you start to learn about your body. Like for me, I am ridiculously salt sensitive. I cannot have anything with salt in it. And if I do, in combination with oil, my blood pressure will be up. And I mean like ridiculously high, like 180 over 100. Okay. So, and it'll take a couple of days for all the fluids, because the salt is going to retain those fluids. Mm-hmm. So if salt is not an issue, then just don't cook with it. And like you said, just salt it just before you eat it, because that is just going to give you the taste on your taste buds, and Correct. You're good. But if you're somebody like me, salt, no, it's not part of my life. I don't cook with it, and I have to make sure. And it makes it very difficult for me to eat out at all.
Yeah.
And I typically don't. And if I do eat out, I pay for it the next day without question.
Well, it's the salt for you, but it'll be other stuff for other people.
Exactly.
If you're eating out, you're gonna have some repercussions from that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, another woman that I was working with, She is so caffeine sensitive. Now, the caffeine doesn't bother me. Salt doesn't bother her. So I could have caffeine till the cows come home, and I have no issues. Caffeine does have a half-life. Did you know that?
No.
I tend to think of half-life as like radioactive decay, because that's how we talk about it in chemistry. But let's say you have a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock in the morning. At 2 o'clock, and it's about a 6-hour half-life. So that's how long it takes half of it to break down in your body.
Okay.
So at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you still have 50% of the caffeine that's activated on your central nervous system at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So at 8 o'clock at night, 12 hours later, after you had that first cup of coffee in the morning, you now have 25% of the caffeine still active and viable in your system. Then at 2 o'clock in the morning, when you're trying to sleep, 18 hours after you had that first cup of coffee, you have 12.5% still active when you're trying to sleep. And then you can't sleep that well. And then the next morning you get, oh God, I need a cup of coffee to wake up,
Well, it was another, I didn't know that, but it was another good decision I made 30 years ago to stop drinking coffee as well. So it's been about 30 years since I've had a cup, I think. So
I'm all about tea.
Yeah.
Life is great if you have a cup of tea in your hands.
Yeah. So something else I just wanted to bring up, which is, again, a lot of discussion on this high blood pressure support group, and that's people talk about side effects from this high blood pressure medication,
Oh gosh, they're so bad. They
Oh,
are.
I just wanted to say to people, and just put this in their head, there are no side effects. There are just effects. When it's not a little tiny issue. It's a major thing. These pills are affecting your body. They're not just something you can brush aside a lot of the time. They're really stopping people in their tracks with, headaches or diarrhea, or, many ailments come from blood pressure pills. So
it's true.
just wanted to bring that up. Yeah.
They're not designed for people long term, but we end up with people on them 10, 15, 20 years.
Well,
they're not designed for long term.
I know that picture I think you posted last time of Dad, or me sitting in the room after cleaning up after my dad after he passed away, and all the medication I found, and he was on at least 10 pills a day, and I thought, wow, this is outrageous. Got to find out that's actually not so unusual for someone of 70 years old.
It's normal.
Yeah.
To be at 70 and be on no medications, that's not normal anymore.
That's right. And I don't want to be normal.
Really? You set me up for that one.
Yeah. No, it's great. I don't want to be normal, and you don't want to be normal. The last thing
Clearly we both are not.
No.
You know that.
That's true. And I want to help other people not to be normal as well. And so if you've a mate of mine, Travelo, says, if you want to be successful in life at anything, you observe the masses and do the opposite. And absolutely, we should be doing that with our health, because if you look at the health of the nation, America, Britain, Norway, any Western country, then the vast majority of people are sick. So that's normal, and I don't want to be normal.
No, I don't want to be part of that. So what would be one thing you would suggest for someone who wants to successfully transition to a whole food plant-based diet?
Oh, do you know, I'm so boring with this, because the information is out there. It's simple. Transfer to a whole food plant-based diet. Don't add any salt, oil, or sugar. It's pretty easy, and it's easy to learn this stuff. There's lots of videos. To transition, almost everybody I know needs a coach. You need someone in your corner, because when you make these changes, sometimes they're quite drastic changes within your body. And if you don't know what's going on, and you don't have that support at that moment in time, it is literally coming off a drug.
It is.
And that's when you need the support, because if you
you're going to have a lot of questions.
A lot of questions on all sorts of, why am I getting the sweats today? Why do I feel a bit dizzy? And it could be, guess what? You've done something, you've lowered your blood pressure, but you're still taking your blood pressure pills, blood pressure lowering pills. So guess what? Your blood pressure is now too low. and that's why you don't have energy. You're in danger of collapsing from in that situation. So it's really important to have I believe, to have a coach alongside. Otherwise, it's a real challenge. I'm not saying you can't do it by yourself. You can, but
Well, that's why you have a program, and so do I.
Sure.
You know,
So
mine is the weight loss advantage, and your program is for high blood pressure.
mine's a no meds method. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, a suggestion for me to help someone to successfully transition is to make your kitchen your wellness center.
Okay.
And, you know, you have enough temptations outside of the house. Make your home the one place that you can go and not have to worry about temptations.
Couldn't agree more, because otherwise, you know, you got something in the house which is unhealthy, like, and it's behind even if it's locked up behind the cupboard, you can hear it behind the cupboard going, "Eat me, eat me, eat me," and you know, it's chemistry. You know, you're drawn to it. You're almost forced to eat it. So I call it, to use this, be aware of the supermarket Trojan horse, and that's the supermarket trolley. You know, because if it doesn't go in the Trojan horse, if it doesn't go in the trolley, it can't get in your house.
Right.
So don't put it in there. So some tips for shopping. You know, don't take a list. Absolutely, write your list before you go. Don't go when you're hungry, and don't take a young child, because you know, you take a young child that, "Oh, mum, can I have this? Mum, can I have this?" You know, the supermarkets market to a certain level so the kids can see the stuff that they want, and you know, that most kids can wear their parents down within 30
easily
minutes inside the supermarket. Yeah, so don't take them. Don't. I know that's easier said than done sometimes, but this is a perfect situation. Don't take your kids. Don't shop when you're hungry, and make a list.
Right. Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, Gareth, we're going to be discussing paleo versus keto in our next show. So,
well, I look forward to that.
That's going to be a good one. So that's going to be the biggest themes of that show coming up. So I look forward to diving in deep on that. So
yeah, look forward to that, and I enjoyed it tonight, Jeanne. Great to be with you again.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Hello.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Like I said, always a pleasure to be with you as well. It's a real lot of fun.
All right. See you in the next show.
Absolutely. Bye now.
Across the pond.